Welcome back.
We live.
Market Mondays.
Yes. Abu Dhabi Dubai edition, F1 edition.
For sure.
This is true. This is
Global
true.
Boys
this
edition. Listen, y'all looking royal.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, we out here in Abu Dhabi still. Been out here for a week, so you know it's been a good run. Good run for sure.
We are coming home though. We are going home at some point. I know there's some rumors that we might not come. We're coming home. We got some things we got to take care of.
Staying the website, they're staying over there. Ian, you going to Mexico? They staying there. Hey, international hoe.
Yeah. Check my handle.
The travel mercenaries. Yes, we will be back. We will be back. We got some things we need to handle out here first.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. We'll talk about that later on, but there's a lot that's been happening in the market, especially since the Thanksgiving holiday, Black Friday day. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. But before we start, definitely big episode for assets over liabilities this week. My girl B Simone.
Yes.
Hey. Shout out to B the Billionaire, man. You know, a lot of people don't fully understand B Simone and they might not take her serious, but you're doing yourself a disservice. This is somebody who's under 30 years old, millionaire, self-made. She had a thing back on a few years ago when she was actually showing the journey to make her first $1 million. She's a true hustler.
Yep.
Comedy, selling products, online businesses, like
best-selling author.
Especially like for the ladies, like she's one of them ones actually. So shout out to B Simone, man.
Just
super dope energy.
Just a good spirit. Like a lot of times, you know, you run into great people and then you run into amazing people. She's definitely one of the most amazing talents that we ever run into. And the episode is incredible. I think when we were recording it, people watched it as it was happening. The production crew was like, that was incredible. I've never seen you guys laugh at that episode, but she just has that energetic spirit and it's infectious. So it's definitely gonna be a treat.
All right. And then also, big episode on Earn Your Leisure tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We have the only Black woman agent in the NBA currently, Shatilia Riley. Irving.
Don't forget the last name.
Kyrie Irving's mom. And
stepmom.
That's his mom.
Well, his mom passed.
I know, but I mean, she's married to his dad, so it's his mom, right? Know. I don't like the word stepmom. Like, you know, if you,
I'm just saying what
that's his mother.
That's what he acknowledges that.
So that is a dope episode that comes out tomorrow at 1 o'clock. His agent, and she obviously had a lot to say about a variety of different things related to him leaving Nike, how the media has portrayed him, the COVID-19 situation, his suspension last year. You know, Kyrie has had a variety of different things that have happened in the media, obviously, if you follow his career, but also on the business side. Like I said, he left Nike and he's working with a shoe brand in China. And that's huge.
Yep.
And he took the power back and, you know, empowered his family to start a sports agency, which he's doing. That's huge.
Yep.
Just so many different things to talk about. And then, of course, obviously, her being, you know, a woman, a Black woman in the sports world, how that is, and difficulties that she's had to go through, and then, you know, negotiating with teams and talking to the media and stuff like that. So really dope conversation. Check that out at 1 o'clock. Yeah.
That'd be a dope one.
And the last thing before we get this show started, Art Basel, December 9th. It's going to be a vibe, I believe. Ian has an event in the morning with Chase. Shout out to Chase.
Yes.
And then, so make sure you go to that in Miami. And we have Art Basel. We got, you know, a hell of a show. A hell of a show for everybody. Free event. It's free. But you must RSVP. That's extremely important because space is limited. So go to our website, click the RSVP tab on the events tab. And we will see you in Miami on December 9th. If you ever been to our Art Basel activations, you know it's a vibe. We always have a good time. We brought out Khaled before. We brought out Sean. Brought out Ian before. We brought out Timberland last year. Pusha T performed.
Just Blaze on the set.
Blaze. Manny Fresh do
on the set.
a DJ set for us. So, you know, Art Basel.
And listen, the crowd y'all curate there too. There'd be some people in the crowd. I'm like, oh, I didn't know you was coming through. Like,
yeah. It's gonna be a big one, man. This one is year 3 of us doing it. Shout out to the FAMO Vet United Mass. Shout out to Ally. We got a big Big surprise. So make sure y'all RSVP for that.
Listen,
it is free. It is free. Make sure y'all there.
It is free. Blogs, write that up too. The turkey give back,
please
write about that. This free of it. I know the artists or whoever's coming is big. They ain't said nothing to me about it. I'm a RSVP too. So Red Panda fam, if y'all want to go, don't hit me. I don't even know who it is, but
it will be packed.
RSVP.
It will be packed. And then this Friday, shout out to the AKAs. Shout out to the AKAs, the wonderful sorority AKAs. We are being honored this Friday. So I want to just give a shout out to them for the event. That's going to be dope, man. It's interesting. The first sorority I ever knew in life was an AKA. My 6th grade teacher who's actually now, she was an AKA. She's actually now my daughter's guidance counselor. That's how long she's been in education. But shout out to the AKAs. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, shout out to AKA. My grandmother was an AKA. So yeah, shout out to the AKAs for sure. All right.
That's the pinky joint?
Legend.
It's pinky joint. Okay.
Pink and green.
Yeah. Fact.
Ian, any announcements on your end?
Yes. Shout out to the AKs again. See y'all at the shout out to the Sweet Move Pie chapter in Atlanta. Legendary. Spellman, I see you. Event with Chase December 9th in the morning. Then please RSVP. Hove will be there. Somebody ginormous will be at the event. I don't know who. Blue Ivy and Beyonce. I don't know who. It's gonna be at the event. Looking forward to it. Miami's gonna be a vibe. Stop Club call will be this Wednesday at 9 p.m. and I will be in New York this week from Tuesday to Thursday. Making my rounds and doing some interviews. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. And shout out to Terrence J, Steve Harvey, y'all, Canelo. Who else y'all meet? The CEO of Louis Vuitton. I ain't even got the call, so I already know. Hey, look, we ran into the guy who ran Hermes in the elevator. Oh my God. The Hermes EYL pajama combo, they hit different. It hit different. It's a game till
perhaps.
Perhaps.
All right. Troy, disclaimer.
Yeah, y'all know how this works, man. Do your research. Do your own research, man. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important that you do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. This is a message brought to you by the good brothers at Earn Your Leisure. And the good brother I'm about to say the good brother Earn Your Leisure, the good brother Ian Dunlap himself, the master investor. Continue to do research, y'all. And shout out to everybody that's using the research for good. Shout out to those that are using it and sharing it and making profit off of it. That's the most important thing. We want to make sure everybody's making money because everybody's happier when they're making money. So make sure you do that.
So, all right, let's start here.
And Black Friday sale, Cyber Monday sale is still going on. You got 48 hours if you want to get a deal on Stock Club. And is the merch sale still going?
Yeah, the merch sale still going, and EYL University sale also still going. So you can click the link in our bio for that, for both of those Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales for sure.
Let's go.
Okay, so speaking of Black Friday, we reported that a record over $9 billion for online sales this year. That's a record. So it was a healthy Black Friday for retail online side. So let's talk about how this would affect some potential companies that are traded on the stock market.
Yes.
Yeah, you had listed a few. You got Best Buy, Ross, Macy's, Kohl's, Target, TJ Maxx, Walmart, and Amazon. So you want to kind of go by each one?
You want to just run them down? We'll start at the top.
Yeah, Best Buy, not one of my favorites. I think they have a bunch of challengers. I would maybe swing trade Best Buy. I think we have one behemoth that we can't forget about. I think Troy, for a while you've been saying this is your stock of the year. We'll get to that in a second. Yep. Number 2, Ross. I do like. If in downtimes, Ross does get a little bit more popular for people who are trying to save money. The company is pretty well ran. The stock performs relatively well. So I like that one. Macy's, not so much. I'll skip past that. Kohl's is okay. Target should make a rebound within 2 or 3 years. So I'm kind of in the middle of the road on Target, but at the right price, I would like to buy it. But I think TJ Maxx, Walmart, and then the behemoth Amazon are the 3 that we really need to focus on here. But Amazon being the cash cow in this crop, like They're expected to ship 5.9 billion packages in 2023, and they're the #1 shipping company in the world as of right now.
And that just happened. They passed UPS in 2020. They passed FedEx this year. They are now the #1 shipper in the United States. This is true. We said this was going to happen.
I know you definitely did. And I'm wondering how much of the competitors' business are staying afloat because of Amazon. Like, I would really love to see that how much data they're sending to UPS, DHL, etc., to have packages delivered. But Amazon, out of the out of that category of Black Friday deals, is #1. I definitely still like Walmart. They are competitive threat to be worried about. TJ Maxx and Ross. Like Best Buy has a whole bunch of other issues, like having to house the inventory. Kohl's I would stay away from, but Amazon by far is the leader here.
There's a lesson to be learned inside of that. About 10 years ago, FedEx had an opportunity to partner with Amazon because of the amount of margin that it was bringing in for the company. Ended up not doing it, and now they're being surpassed. And who knows, in 10 to 15 years, if they'll even be able to compete. We'll see. But there's a bigger story, because when we talked about the record that was sold, it was 9.8 billion online sales. But the big retail stores, there's another issue there that nobody's talking about, right? How many people were in the stores? So Ian, I'm gonna run down that list, right? I'm gonna give people the percentages year to date of the companies, and then it'll put a more of a highlight on what's happening in terms of the retail sector. So Best Buy, and for those who are looking for the ticker BBY, is down 14% year to date. Ross, ticker ROST, up 13% year to date. Macy's down 25%. Ticker is M. Kohl's, ticker is KSS. They're down 6%. Target, ticker TGT, down 13%. TJ Maxx, ticker TJX, is up 13%. And Walmart, ticker WMT, is up 9%. Now this is where it gets really glaring. Amazon, the company you just talked about, and I've talked about the past 2 years, is up 73% year to date. But here's the big one right here. Pause. Shopify. When we're talking about e-commerce and we're talking about small business, you have to talk about Shopify. Shopify is up 103% year to date. So if you're talking about e-commerce and the way people are shopping, people are not going in the stores at the same rate, right? These Black Friday sales if I can get it online with my convenience, I'm going to do it there. You talk about two e-commerce businesses that are dominant, Amazon and Shopify. Amazon headed toward a triple-digit percentage this year. Shopify is already there. Those trends, I feel like, are going to continue going into the future. Retail space, big box retail, they have an issue on their hands.
Over with, which goes into the issue that Don Peebles and who else was talking about this at Market Mondays Live? Like the commercial use space is going to be different over the next. David Gross. The commercial real estate boom is done, and we're seeing a lot of retailers go through. But like you said, the ones that have been shifted to apps and online purchasing, they're going to do incredibly well. Amazon is in prime position. Like Bezos hasn't left his foundation or got off the yacht yet, but listen, Andy's doing a good job. They are performing incredibly well. You got to give it up for Amazon. When everyone thought they were down and out, they found a way to right the ship, and great CEOs are going to find a way to do well even in times of disaster. And I feel bad for FedEx not partnering. Rashada, remind me that one time when you seen old boy walking to Chipotle
with the knapsack.
It ain't giving hedge fund, like you say, but put it in chat. Partnerships are key.
Get your
All
facts.
that be your own boss thing sounds good until inflation hits. Oh baby.
Well, speaking about inflation, so what does it say? What does it say about the state of the economy? What does it say about the economy with 9.8 billion spent on online sales? A lot of people said, recession and people would be spending less money this year, but spent more money regardless of the circumstances. So what does it say about, heading into 2024?
I think when people want things, no matter what, they're going to find a way. If you have kids, significant other, your kids and significant other don't want to hear this recession, I'm not going to buy you anything. So there's always going to be someone to profit. Money is going to slow down, but money, like energy, is always going to be recycled. So it may move up to the 1%ers and they may spend more, or it may trickle down occasionally. But the biggest companies on earth are going to find a way to incentivize people to spend money to put that into their castle. The thing I found really interesting with the Amazon thing was the Thursday night game. And now they had the ads popping up based off of your shopping history. Like that Black Friday NFL Amazon integration, I don't think people know how genius that is. You don't have to pay the same rate as you do at the Super Bowl, but it's a little bit pricier. People are waiting for a deal, and now the Black Friday deals are popping up. So like Super Bowl will always reign supreme, and it's like the imminent ad space. But I think this Thursday night pre-Black Friday game may get bigger. Job well played by Amazon for sure.
Yeah, it was first time in history that they had a Black Friday NFL game. Just so happened. I mean, the Jets played terribly, but yeah, it's a business model. Even for the season, the Thursday night games have moved to Amazon Prime. So if you're looking for them on network TV, you don't have them anymore. They're all on the Amazon Prime. Who knows what happens? And I know Disney's trying to figure out what they're going to do with ESPN, but you could imagine that Monday Night Football itself might end up on one of these streaming platforms where they can only be viewed there. That's always, if you look at ratings for every week from a national syndicast, it's the #1 show every week during the football season. And then after that, it's good luck. Maybe it can be one of these game shows, but during the NFL season, Monday Night Football, #1 watch thing in the country. So imagine that going to a streaming platform. The bidding on that is just being incredible.
Being incredible. Yeah, I think people always find money to spend where they need it. I think, and also I think you guys touched on this before. Even though a recession may hit certain parts of the country or certain demographics, people are always going to spend. I think that wealth gap is getting so wide. We're seeing a disparity between, we know people who are being drastically affected, and on the other end, we know some people the last 2 years they've had their best years. So I think the economy is going to find a way to stabilize. I don't think we're going to have a soft landing. Or maybe we'll have a soft landing for the rich and a very harsh landing if you're not. I don't know if you've seen the post I put up earlier. Fellas, if you're cheating and you're not paying all the bills, old girl put him on a balcony, made him sleep outside, and brought his macaroni and cheese and Kool-Aid outside. Get your affairs in order so you can have a soft landing in case you get caught up this holiday season. And real men don't cheat.
Black men don't cheat, man. You know that.
It's fascinating. Was it a big burrito bowl with chips, or was it like, I'm done?
Earn your compliance.
Boy.
Yo. So let's talk about gold mining.
Yeah.
Gold mining companies. Interesting, because most people only look at gold as an investment for like actual gold bars, but not the companies that actually mined gold, right? But there's no gold without gold mining. So let's talk about some gold mining companies that people might be interested in investing in.
Yeah, one, you guys can put this watch list down really quick. #1 is NEM, so Newport Mining is one. The second ticker is AU. The third one is GFI, and I'll go into all detail about these. The fourth is KGC, and the last one is FCX, which is Freeport McMoRan. They've been around for a long time. I'll start there. I like Freeport. Of course, you have the ticker GOD. Gold definitely has incredible value. I know a lot of people always ask, should you invest in gold for the long term? I think you should have some exposure, maybe 5 to 10%. But if you can get Freeport McMoRan around $17 or $15, I like it there. Anything above there is too pricey for me. If I go to Newmont Corporation, I like that one around $26. Let me go to AU because I know people have been saying we haven't done enough stocks recently, or not the same ones. AU, Anglo Gold, Ashanti, I like around $9.41, and then GFI, which is Goldfields Limited, I like at the price of like $5.35, and I would exit around 15 because that normally is a place of resistance. So if you can't buy Cuban chain like a 19 has, like 19 to come on with all the gold, you know what I mean? Shout out to my guy. Or if you can't buy a bar, these are some companies that will give you exposure to your portfolio. And normally, if the market is heading down, gold stocks are going to go up as a offset to inflation. Those are my 4. Back to you.
There you have.
Yes.
There you have it. So
gold all in my chain.
Gold
on my.
So you think that? So would gold, would these companies be on your top watch list?
Yeah, I will put them in the watch list for a gold, for gold only. Like now, if I have to compare them to the Magnificent 7 or we got to get on Terrific 10. No, but if I want exposure to gold, Freeport would be there first, and then probably GFI at the right price, because the 99, 2014, and 2016 GFI went to like $2.14 each of those times. So that's like a great place to buy at a support level that historically has worked out. But yeah, I would definitely put them on a watch list. If the market does tank in 2024, I will look to put some capital and deploy some capital there to have more exposure to gold.
Okay.
The commodities play.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Or we can do some market monies, Cubans.
Platinum.
I'm with it. It'd be fire.
Yeah.
Oh, we can lie and say it's white gold. The don't let them know play. Got you. No, this white gold, 10 carat. Got this in the middle of the mall. Edgewater.
Mall of America.
For real.
So, okay. So let's talk about Netflix, shall we? So Netflix gave 11 million to a company to produce a movie, and they lost it all trading options. Do you think this is real or rollout for the movie? And what are some lessons that can be learned from this situation?
Listen, but Troy sent me a text and like, listen, he made a bunch of money off Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Like, I think
the story is complex, man. Yeah, so the story is really complex. So it sounds like they gave him 11 million. In actuality, the budget was 55 million. So he had 55 million to do this film called Conquest. The dude's name is Carl Rinch. So he got 44 million to do this Netflix deal, which is crazy because Amazon was bidding on it too. They lost. He asked for more money for production, right? He said he needed the total 55 to get this done. So when they gave him the additional 11, he put it into the stock options, right? He put it into stock options. I think it was like $11 million. He lost 6 of it within like 10 days, lost 6 million. But the other 4, this is crazy. The other 4, he invested in Dogecoin. So he put $4 million in Dogecoin, I think, in like maybe March or April of 2021. That 4 million turned into 27 million because Dogecoin went on that run.
Yeah.
So the crazy part is Netflix is looking at like, that's our money that you invested, right? So now there's like litigation going back and forth, like who's entitled to that money, right? You were supposed to be using it for production, right? You didn't. There's no movie coming out. You made profit off the money that you were supposed to be doing for production, right? So now what happens? So then you go, the story gets deeper, right? When he got the 27 million from Dogecoin, here's a list of things that he purchased. He bought 5 Rolls Royces, because I mean, one's not enough. A Ferrari.
Well, he used the cards for the movie.
So that's crazy. That's what he said. So he bought a Ferrari, a Vacheron Constantin watch, some high-end furniture, and designer clothes. And when they asked him about the expenditures, he said it's all part of the production budget. So now it's in litigation. Like, what happens to this money? This is like one of these ill stories. The first part is that he was getting 55 million to get a movie. I mean,
insane.
I haven't seen any of his work before. I'm not familiar with any of it. But that's when you're talking about these streaming services, and we talk about this all the time. How are they going to make profit when they give out these big budgets for people who haven't produced at a high level? 55 million is now down the drain, really, but they're looking at like, yo, he needs to give us some of that money from the profits he made. It's an interesting litigation that's going to happen. I'm not sure how this gets handled.
This is one of the greatest rollouts I've ever seen. When I first saw this, I was like, okay, this is a lie. Then like 50 people sent it to me, and I'm like, okay, let me look into it. Then you sent that to me today, and I'm like, damn, he financed the loss. But if he says Conquest was a movie about what if this is like the new Wall? I'm a cape for him for a second. This is like the new version of Wall Street, and he wants to tell a real life story based on true events. It's tough, man. Now he does have to deliver the movie, but this in itself This is a documentary inside of a documentary already. I don't know how it's going to end up. When I heard this and then you sent me that about how much he made, I was like, why the hell did we do this? We literally should just have one option account where I lose a whole bunch. Let academics and Vlad kill me. Y'all win a whole bunch, and we turn into a movie. We got to get our Renaissance tour on next year. My Lord. So kudos to him on the all the crypto people. Shout out to him on the Dogecoin win. This is a great rollout. Like, and of course, because the hype of trading and options has died down since 2021. I don't think it's correct in what he did. Like, I don't think it's moral, but if they didn't state in their prospectus that he can only use that money for film, or if this is part of research, he may end up getting away with it. But he does need to produce a movie. But I'm mad he didn't think of this idea.
This is a real conquest. I mean, contractually, he's obligated to that money. Now, what he does with the money, right? If you give him a budget for a film, I mean, technically, it belongs to him or the company that it was wired to. I think they might have wired it to one of his LLCs, which makes it tougher for them to try to recoup that money.
That's
right.
Tough.
That's tough. Yeah, it's
55 for a movie and you never seen his work.
Yeah, I wonder what options he put it in though. That's a lot to lose in 10 days. 6 million in 10 days is
that's tough, bro.
That's a tough one.
Imagine if he would have won on both sides though. He looked like a genius. He looked like a genius.
$100 million budget.
I know one wired and clear. We need to call Netflix though. Get a phone UTA CA. Hey, let's get it from Tubi. Tubi, y'all got 40 for us? We'll come right on over. Man.
Fact.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the S&P. S&P is up 4 weeks in a row. And it's up more than 10% during this win streak. So what's the biggest lesson learned from the S&P making some moves over the last couple of months?
Yeah, NASDAQ is up, Amazon is up. I think the thing, and that's why I love doing the show every week, and then seeing y'all double up on the assets of reliability and earn your leisure episodes, like the power of consistency, man. Like everything, I wish it was a more elegant way to put this, but if you stay to your plan and stick to your plan and keep investing in, you're going to find a way to win. I keep saying it. The market is rigged to stay up permanently. Hedge funds, municipalities, prop firms, fund of funds are all putting money into the S&P 500. Vanguard, Blackstone are all putting money into the S&P. It's almost too big to like. If we want to talk about the real too big to fail, the S&P 500 index is probably the most indestructible financial asset that we have in our country. And if you're not taking a part of it and not investing into it, you're literally choosing to be broke. That's why when we talked about it last week, if you're continuously short selling, you're saying to every bank and every fund, I'm smarter than you and I have more capital, because every dollar is a vote. So if I have trillions of dollars on the hedge fund side, prop firm side, going into these funds, how can a $50,000 or $50 million bet make the market go down for long? So I know a lot of times people ask, why do you guys always talk about the S&P and NASDAQ and Dow? Because they are rigged to permanently stay up. And if you're not putting money there, you're going to go broke. You're going to miss out on an opportunity of a lifetime. Even with all the disaster and fear that has been permeating in the last 18 months, the S&P is still performing. Amazon is performing well. NVIDIA is performing well. I'm seeing DraftKings start to make a move, Troy. Like, if we just get Disney out of the clear, home run. Microsoft is doing well. Google, invest for the long term and you'll be good. But I think one of the greatest things we've seen collectively from us, we've just beat a lot of people from being consistent. There may be some who may be more talented, or they may be hotter for 3 or 4 weeks. Long term,
Gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
I don't see nobody else hosting no dinners or going to with Canelo.
Shout out to the champ.
See,
great golf player.
Oh, y'all not enough to fight for. Got you. Little exhibition. Got you. Diversity. Diversity. I like
it. Fact. That's a fact. Shout out to Canelo.
Reaching across borders.
Yeah. Necessary. The international play. And shout out to old girl who had her face covered up with Maddie J and Chris Brown session.
Viral.
Covering up your face make it look worse. Do what I do. Just go outside. Like, I have to go out for work. Promo InvestFest 2024 coming soon.
Coming soon.
Talent research. Talent research.
You gotta be outside.
November 6th, we spoke about this on Market Mondays. We said November is the best month to trade. Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like if people have been watching core audience fans, they know that. They already know that this is something that they kind of expected. And so most people probably prepared for this moment. Like when we talking about the NASDAQ, when we talk about the S&P, we talk about the Dow. Historically, this has been the best month for the NASDAQ on an average of 2% increase. I think right now it's trading at 9%. And that was with some pullbacks throughout the month already. But hopefully it finishes strong. The question is, where does the S&P finish for the year? Right. So it's over at 4,500, a little bit over 4,500. Do you think we get to 46.5? Can we go up 100 points from here?
Kodak voice. I hope so. I don't know if we can, because I'm trying to keep my streak and win record super high, but I think we definitely have a shot, because the new Christmas rally is the November run. If October is the worst month for the stock market, that, like, if I had to build a portfolio, I would start buying long term in October and start my trading season in November. Like, it's all like, if I have a hedge fund and I'm courting clients in the fourth quarter, would I want to court clients while I'm winning or while I'm losing? It's really easy to bring clients into the office in November when everything's going crazy. Like, Amazon came out of the ashes like a phoenix rising. Great. Facebook, Meta's doing great. Google's doing great. Bitcoin is starting to have a run. Everything is smooth again. So I definitely think we can at least touch that. I don't know if we'll stay there through the end of the year, but I think we may kiss that level.
So okay. So let's talk about this. Is Solana back?
I want to this back to y'all before y'all go to Wimbledon. I'm gonna knock it back to y'all and let me know what you think. I do see XRP, of course, making a run, XLM, but I do want to pose to you, do you think Solana can make a comeback in 2024?
Can it, you know what? I'll take a large scope, right? I'll go macro here. I think the space of cryptocurrency has a chance to have a run. I think, and I'm with Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase. When we saw what happened with Binance, and we'll talk about that later, I feel like this is the largest exchange in the world. We've seen a lot of exchanges have defaults, and we saw a lot of fraud. I feel like once Binance has this on right now, it feels like this is a complete clean out of the system, because it doesn't get bigger than that, right? Like we're talking $4 billion in fraud. It doesn't get bigger than Binance. I feel like this is a clean out for the system for the new version of how crypto is going to look. Like, I know we talking about we don't want regulation. That's out the window, right? We don't want big government involved. That's out the window. Something's brewing in 2024, 2025 that's going to reshape how crypto is viewed. So I'm going to say, is it back? No. But am I optimistic that the space will have an appreciation over the next 2 to 3 years? Yes. How's that?
Yeah, last month has been up 70%, a nice push. If inflation drops and there is quote unquote safety in the crypto space, like when CNBC and Barron's and Deutsche Bank start saying, hey, there's safety across the board, that's when you know the banks have like fully infiltrated and taken everything over. It's like when they kicked out Kevin and Lior and brought in Ellie Reed and changed the regime. Same kind of thing. And I told you guys this before. I know I'm not the most aforementioned crypto expert, but I did tell you the banks are going to come in and try and take over. Job is almost done, and as a result, they'll find a way to push this one high. But yeah, I think by 25, Solana will be a lot higher. I don't know if it'll get back to those highs of a few years ago, but I definitely can see it pushing another 50 to 60% from here.
It's the job done.
Yeah,
so
it's the job done.
Which cryptos do you think will have the biggest bull run?
Bitcoin and XRP, like especially with that banking attachment. I've been a fan of Bitcoin forever. Challenges, yes, but the prices I think I've called have panned to be true. Shout out to Curtin, Crypto 901. But yeah, XRP I think is going to be one of the most important assets to the banking infrastructure, if you will, which is a great acquisition by the banking space. Those two, if I can just hunker down for 5 or 10 years, especially after the Bitcoin halving, I think Bitcoin is going to go on a crazy run. And this is the interesting part. NASDAQ is up what is up with a slower economy and global fear. What will they run if we drop quantitative easing back down, or if interest rates go to 2% and then we get healthy economies again? XRP and Bitcoin are going to go crazy. NASDAQ is going to go crazy. I think NASDAQ will hit all-time highs. A good indicator will be if the Russell 2000 can pull itself out of the rut, which I think of all the indexes is probably worst performing, or what caused me the most worry. Like if I had 100 grand there, I will worry about the Russell 2000. If the Russell 2000 starts to move, that means crypto is already going to take off, or it's about to take off. NASDAQ and Bitcoin and crypto are comparable. So I will keep my eyes on that. But yeah, I'm hanging my hat on Bitcoin and XRP for sure.
Yeah, you left Ethereum out of that conversation. Intentional? Or do we not see it as bullish?
Shout out to Ethereum, Vitalik, everyone in Russia. Shout out to our fans in Russia. I don't want no. I'm learning. Listen, I'm not dying on no more hills. No. So, and Ethereum is in Stock Club. Prices are out. If you want to know the best prices to join in any market, you can click the link in my bio and join the Black Friday sale. Also, get your Assets of Reliability merch and the show. Tune in tonight. Yeah. Media training been going so well for me.
I'd be interested in to see what happens with Binance Coin. You know, that's one of those top 10 crypto coins. Obviously, it being a bigger change. When you have, I mean, I can imagine if there was fraud in a big financial firm here in the States, the impact that it would have on that stock. I'm interested to see over the next couple of weeks what the impact will be with this, obviously with the fraud case with from CEO, what it has on the coin, because we've seen that coin fluctuate from $400 go down to 80, and then sit around 200, get up to 300. Because most people, when they trade, right, that trade partner, usually BNB, if you're using the exchange, is what you're using, and there's a fee that gets attached with it. So I mean, the revenue is always going to be there. So if the space grows, then most likely Binance Coin will grow. But you know, having this case on his books, I wonder the financial impact it'll have.
Yeah, I just thought of this while you were saying that. For both of you, what CEO of a hedge fund or bank do you think can leave and run Binance? And what would they like if they got? I know Jamie's not going to leave Chase, but what hedge, like if Ken Griffin left his firm to go run Binance or someone of that ilk, who do you think could give it validity to make it run even further? I think it's just an interesting thought exercise.
But what if Brian Armstrong decided to do that? Right now it's Binance USA. He already has insane. Right. He's already having issues with the SEC. Right. If he can get the largest exchange, he already has Coinbase, which is the #1 in the United States. If he can some way work out a deal or get a part of a board to be with Binance, now you're talking about a huge takeover.
That would be insane.
That would be.
Well, we'll monitor the situation. All right, so let's talk about Ozempic. Yeah. That's been the drug of 2023. A lot of people have used it to lose weight.
Yep.
But do you think that the momentum is starting to die off of that?
No, I think given how much we use Instagram and how much physical appearance in our society, I know the CEO, a few food company CEOs are saying that the effects are going to wear off and their stocks won't be affected. And listen, bro, people want to look good. I never thought I would see a battle between Tyson and Eli Lilly or the CEO of Oreo, but and it's an interesting part. Now a lot of capital is being deployed from pharma companies into these drugs because ironically, this is one of the drugs that we actually see that works. Like I don't know if Lunesta is strong as it used to be, but Ozempic is working. So as this sector in pharma gets hotter, it is going to have an effect. So I don't think, and I think a lot of people, if we do the eye test or ask most people about it, maybe 3%, maybe 5% of people have actually used it. And people want a quick solution. It may not be the healthiest long term, but I think this is going to be a lot bigger issue for food companies in the long term if it's actually working at scale and there isn't any hard side effects from it. So I think the food companies could be in trouble for a couple of years for sure.
Yeah, I don't think the fad is done. Even there was reports today that Eli Lilly's Mounjaro is actually performing better than Ozempic, and so I think the war for the diet solution is we're just getting started in it, right? There'll be another pharma company that says we have one that works better than Mounjaro, is better than Ozempic, and like you said, people want fast results. How they get them, I mean, that's what left up for interpretation, right? This is kind of new, and so we don't know what it looks like 3 to 5, 10 years down the line of taking these weight loss drugs. But we're at the beginning of it. I think we're at the beginning of it.
Yeah, I think we're at the very beginning.
Food companies should be taking a hair to it, right? Because and most people on the surface think like, well, why would they be worried? Well, one of the side effects is that it makes you eat less. Yeah. Right. And if people are trying to lose weight and it's making them eat less, then that's going to affect what they're buying and how often they're buying. So they definitely should be on notice because this is something that is not going anywhere. I see more people doing it. Right. Like we know probably a few people on our hands if we had to count people who have actually tested the drug and used it and have seen results. But I think more people down the line will be using this, especially in America where obesity and people being overweight and health issues are at a premium. It's the perfect drug for this environment.
And if Dr. Miami got to get his hands on it, he get the Ozempic BBL combo deal for the holidays next year, boy. Y'all, hey, that Big Get Back campaign, boy, Dr. Miami finna go crazy.
The bundle pack.
The big bundle. Hey, Big Get Back, get the BBL and Ozempic partnership. Ooh. Listen, Miami gonna be tough next year. Miami is gonna be New York gonna be tough. So
unbig your back, Mike. Flip that up.
It's going to work. I'm telling you. Y'all are fitness gurus. Y'all in trouble too. They ain't doing 22 sets no more. 2 shots of Ozempic and get right. Be careful. That's all I say. Everyone is your competitor. Y'all see last week after we got off the show, Cardi started talking about the economy. I got my stomach dropped. I said, "Oh, Rashad, let me promote the Canelo fight with you." So Cardi come over here. I'd be terrified. Shout out to B Simone. He talked to her. Baby boy, hey, you're a star. Teach me something, baby boy. Teach me some of them secrets. Everybody is your competitor. Ozempic is going to put a lot of these food companies in trouble. Yes. Yeah. And Lily's version sound like a better DiGiorno pizza. It sound like an Italian dish.
Yeah, they actually were used. It was used for diabetes, and it ended up becoming a weight loss drug. So interesting. Yeah, it was already in house.
Interesting. And they have what, a 20-year exclusive license before other companies can start to produce it. That's a long window for Lilly. That's a long window. Yeah, so they got to do a split at some point.
Yeah, you figure even if a competitor, the use case to even do trials, it's going to take you at least 3 to 4 years before it gets approved, and then FDA. I mean, it'll be an interesting time. But yeah, I think we're at the beginning of this.
Yeah, we haven't even seen the apex of this yet. So, Hostess, get your affairs in order, and Pepsi brand, get your affairs in. I know you're more beverage, but get your affairs in order.
Pepsi, you see that? It just passed Coca-Cola as the #1 beverage brand.
I didn't see it. Long overdue. Yeah. CEO is amazing. And Coke's been mismanaging their brand for a decade. I knew they were in trouble when Buffett stopped putting all that money into Coke.
Yeah,
many years ago.
It didn't even have to do with the beverages. It really had to do with the snack options. The snacks have taken Pepsi over the top. Space. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So that actually pushed them over the top for their market cap.
And I actually like their stock too. I like the CEO a lot. Incredibly well managed team, but the power of consistency. They didn't take their brand for granted. They have a lot more room to grow. I think if they get back to 155, 160, that's the area I like to buy in, and maybe in 2 or 3 years they'll be back at 180, 190. So,
all right,
yeah.
So, you want to talk about you want to switch the table and ask us some questions?
Yes. Can you tell me what are the top 3 lessons? I know it's 40 lessons y'all have learned. I've seen the pictures; they look amazing. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. What are like some of the top 3 lessons you've learned since you guys have been out there in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, business wise, and what ideas are coming to you that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, as far as lessons, obviously say this all the time, but just, power of networking and solid relationships. Obviously this is Steve Harvey's golf tournament before he came out here. So shout out to BD and Jess and Brandon and the whole team, and of course Steve Harvey. But then when you get out here, a bunch of other people that we may have met in passing, or we have relationships with, or we just didn't know at all. So, Charlemagne, shout out to him.
Yeah,
Got a chance to kick it with him. Of course, Terrence J, that's our guy. He was out here. Anthony Anderson, somebody that we knew, but this is the first time we actually got a chance to really build with him. So we got a chance to really, connect with him. And just talking and asking questions, seeing what people had going on, different things of that nature. Even Canelo, shout out to Canelo, super cool, humble dude. It was crazy. Like I posted the picture and people didn't even think it was real. Thought it was AI generated.
AI.
Yeah, it's a fact. Thought it was AI generated. So just understanding the room, right? By understanding the room, being able to, add value to a conversation, and knowing how to, really navigate in that environment, or in any environment, is key to your success in business and life, really, honestly. So I think that that's always one of the main takeaways is just to be in that environment, be in that room. But then once you get in the room, be able to have conversations, not be annoying, and add value, and just it's kind of a art and a skill. But definitely a lot of great people that we ran into. Meek Mill, shout out to him. Ran into him, had a conversation with him. So everybody's out here right now for Formula One race, and then like I said, Steve Harvey had his golf tournament and a lot of stuff going on. So, Ye is out here. We ain't running the Ye yet, but Ye's out here.
Burke out there.
Yeah, everybody's out here, and then of course on the business side, a bunch of people that most people have never heard of, billionaires and stuff like that out here from the area and from different parts of the world that in Dubai. So in Abu Dhabi, it's a very eclectic group of people. It's a very international vibe. The UAE is something that a lot of energy is around right now, and that's done intentionally. So it's dope, man. It's a great experience to be outside of America. You don't want to kind of just limit yourself domestically. You always got to travel and see what's going on internationally to keep perspective on the world, and then also to get new ideas as well. So yeah, it's been a dope experience to come out here for sure.
Yeah, I will add to that. I think one of the biggest lessons that I'm witnessing is how business moves in silence. A lot of deals are happening right in front of us, or being talked about right in front of us, but you would never even know. And I just feel like even like the culture out here, like the people, the royals and the dignitaries, they carry themselves like everyday people. And deals happen because they just are very personable. So knowing that, and even this is a quote from my brother Derek Falcon. He said, like, people major in minor things, right? Like, I started thinking about the trivial things we talk about when we home a lot of times, or even as a community, the things that we talk about, like none of that is even a whisper. Obviously, it's something that's happening in the States, but the trivial things are not happening. Every time we talk to somebody, it's about family, or it's about business, or it's about innovation, or it's about expansion. And that's the theme of pretty much every conversation. So navigating those rooms, like Shadi was saying, like that's on the forefront of conversation. And the other thing is being able to adapt to any environment. It's one of those things that we talk about all the time, but it really comes to the forefront when we're in these settings, right? Like we're the guys that can go on Button and also go to Bloomberg, and having that duality makes us almost unicorns in a sense, right? Because we can fit in any environment, any room. And so, like you said, when we're sitting with Charlemagne or we're sitting with dignitaries, it's the same guys. We get to show up as we are. But so it furthermore cements that, being authentic, being relatable, and being 100% yourself at all times, it's the best way to go about things, man. And we get to see it come to fruition every time we get put in situations like this, man. So again, shout out to SH and the entire team for having us. And everybody that we got to sit down with. We really got to bond with some people, like you said, Anthony Essen. We had a great conversation about finance, right? Like, he's a comedian, but he's like, look, I need to lean in on your guys. Like, you guys know things I don't. We're talking about building homes, and we're talking about tax codes. So it was dope, man. So shout out to everybody that was out here with us and took time to speak to us.
Do you think the networking is a more valuable asset than stocks? And if so, can you tell us why? Because in some regards, I would say yes. Like, the ability to properly network.
Yeah, I mean, life is about relationships. So, you know, you got to be able to cultivate relationships. Everybody cultivates relationships different ways. But you know, I don't think that you'll go far in life if you're not able to, you know, establish relationships. So, I mean, that's really the most important thing in life, honestly, is who you know. And after that is what you know. And if you have a combination of good information of what you know and a good network of who you know, then that's the ultimate, you know, key to success. So yeah, and I mean, definitely networking, like I said, not just from a network and just get places, ask people their names. Like, you know, it's like you gotta, you know, deserve to be there. You gotta work hard to be there. You gotta, you know, have conversations, stay in touch, see how you can add value, stuff like that. So it's a lot that goes into it. But I mean, building relationships is that's the biggest part of life. If you really think about it, everything, whether you're married, that's a relationship that you had to cultivate and build. And you know, work towards. If you're in business, those are relationships that you have to cultivate and build and work towards. If everything that you really have is built off of a relationship or a referral, so from another relationship. So yeah, I think you know, that is definitely the key to life. And I think, you know, also the culture, you can definitely learn a lot from the culture. As far as, like, yesterday we was at the race, and what I've noticed is that, you know, at the race, everybody comes to the race from people from all over. But I think the Emiratis, what my theory behind this, because they all had fedoras on, I think that they dress very similar to each other all the time. But especially in an event like that, where they know that every single body's going to be there, they want to kind of all look uniform. So I think that that was impressive, because they showed strength and unity to know, like, okay, these are Emiratis right here, just based off of how they dress, and everybody's dressed the same. But also, it's modesty. So it's just like, we talk about, you know, in this part of the world, women is big on modesty, like how you dress, right? Like, you don't show your hair. It's big modesty. But men also, that's modest behavior, how they dress. And that's actually a lot of wisdom in that, because it's like, now I'm not trying to, you know, show off on you. I don't have to worry about how much money I'm spending for my outfit. I don't have to, you know, try to flex 10 times harder than everybody looks the same. Everybody's going to be judged the same, right? Like, if I don't know, you could be a billionaire, or you can have $10 to your name. We both got the same outfit on. And now the only thing that you can judge is somebody by their character. The only thing you can judge is somebody by their conversation. But also, it leads to less individualism, because it's like, all right, now if we're all uniform and we all look the same, and it's extremely modest, right? Just white cloth, a long white cloth garment. You might have a nice watch on, but other than that, it's like we all look the same. We take the individualism out of it, and now it's more of a collective, and we could just bypass a lot of the materialism aspects of just from a dress code violation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you see somebody and you don't like what they have on, or they think that you biting what they have on, and think about how much conflict has caused in our culture just from dressing. People get killed for their clothes. Honestly, in our culture, from sneakers to leather jackets to a variety of different things that happen for a long time. So yeah, you know, you pick up different things in different parts of the world, but definitely something that I noticed. And you know, that is something that I think is an interesting part of the perspective, and maybe a reason why they've become so successful in their culture, is that they are just more focused on just, you know, not really showing their wealth, just actually getting to it and just being more quiet about it, not actually flashing it and showing it, because you attract a lot of attention when you do it like that too. So you learn different things from different people, and take different things from different people, and see how you can add it to your life to actually enrich it.
Is there anything that's glaringly clear that UAE does better than us in terms of business in America? Because I'm always trying to look internationally to see what other companies or coaches are doing better than us, because I think we're falling behind. Is there anything that sticks out other than the things that you said?
I think the hospitality is it's the most glaring thing. And we come from New York, where it's like when you see tourists, it's like you almost feel like, why y'all here? Y'all in the way. Whereas it's almost like, welcome you here. We want you here. When can you come back? How can we help you come back? How can we help you while you're here? It's just a different feeling. And we've experienced this a few times now. And I mean, we've been throughout Abu Dhabi. We were in Dubai a couple of days. And it's the theme throughout, and that goes from men and women. It goes from workers to drivers to everyday people inside of a mall. There's a different level of hospitality because they actually want you to be part of this experience, and they want you to see the beauty. And like I said, the innovation is incredible. And so when you see that, I mean, everything feels modern for a reason, right? They want to make this the place that has everything. And they've done a really good job of doing that anywhere. I mean, when you look at the architecture, when you look at some of the things they've been able to do, I mean, everything is the largest, whether it's the roller coaster or it's the Burj Khalifa or it's the mall. Everything is the largest. Everything is grand scale because they want you to make this is a place you want to come back to. This is a place you should be. And so that's the most glaring one to me was the hospitality. It's just done at a different level.
I mean, I think also from a political standpoint, we we've talking about politics a lot lately, and the system is different as far as there is no voting, there's no choosing a leader. It's one leader, and decisions are made for the people. And you can never become a citizen if you're not an Emirati, even though the country is made up of 90% immigrants. So I think that there's benefits in that from a variety of different standpoints. And we in America and the Western world have been always taught that democracy was the only civilized way to go about things. But I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think it depends on every different, because it's like, even in our democracy, if you want to call it that, A, it's getting paid for by corporations. We just talked about that last week. And B, there's so many checks and balances when nothing happens. So something has to get through Congress, then it has to go through the Senate, then it has to go through the president, then it can get stopped in the judicial system, then it has to go to the Supreme Court, then you have state legislators, then you have state governors, then you have, so it's so many different things that happen. So it makes it extremely difficult. If somebody really has a great idea, they can't do anything. So it's like, all-inclusive power is extremely dangerous if you have a bad leader, but all-inclusive power can be beneficial if you have a good leader. And if you have somebody that's actually, cares about the people and wants to push things through, they don't have to actually, check and try to play political games and get money from lobbyists and, talk to the Republicans, then talk to the Democrats, then appoint a Supreme Court judge and go through all of this stuff. And it takes years, 4 years, and you can't get anything done, right? So I think that that's one of the reasons why they've been able to move so quickly, is that they don't have to bypass the political process that's beneficial for them. And also, like I said, they don't give citizenship. So the country is built from people that's coming and working and providing services, and that's helping the economy. But they're not imposing their culture on the country, right? You can come to the country, you're welcome to add value to it, but you can't impose your culture on the country. There's some benefits in that as well, right? Where it's like in America, it's the exact opposite. Everybody has imposed their culture, and there's upsides to that, but then that becomes difficult as well, because you can't have your own culture. So it's hard to establish your own culture when everybody is imposing their culture, right? So it's like, they're pretty much unapologetic about their culture, how they dress, their way of life. And this is something that, they hold dear to them. So they don't want outsiders just completely changing the fabric of their country, but they do, accept outsiders. So those are two interesting things that I think are interesting, and go completely against how we were raised in America, right? We were always taught that everybody should be included in everything, and that, governance should always be spread out. Well, you gotta be open-minded, and you gotta, look at other things in the world that's working, and America's having trouble, and, it's working over here. It's working. Everybody's no country is perfect. Everybody has different issues, but I mean, you can't really go against something that's working. It's obviously working, right? So there's some level of success that could potentially be taken from that and implemented, if not in America, in other parts of the world, because America is not the only place in the world either. So other countries are looking to develop themselves and come out of poverty, and these are aspects that they might take from this part of the world and implement it, whether that's in Asia, South America, Africa, it's a variety of different things. So it's just interesting to get a global perspective on things and see things for yourself, as opposed to what you just hear on television or what you see. And a lot of people are scholars from YouTube. But the dangerous thing about that is that there's always propaganda. You don't know which side you get in. You don't who's publishing information, what their purpose of publishing information is. You see one thing, and then it just you just run with it. It could be some truth to that. It could be a lot of falsehood to that also, right? So it's like, if you did a study, if somebody did a documentary on the South Side of Chicago, for Black America, and they just painted that like, this is 2 blocks, and they made that seem to the point where it was like, if you come to America and you see a Black person, then you're probably going to get killed. A lot of people probably would believe that. But then it's like, you come to America, and it's like, you're not just going to randomly just get killed for no reason. That's a low chance of happening, right? But if you're in an environment, if you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, it's a variety of different things that happen. Can it happen? Of course it can happen. But how it's portrayed is probably not the most realistic expectation that you should have. So it's the same thing, I feel, everywhere, right? We saw how Africa was depicted for years. I mean, is there poverty in Africa? Of course. Is there war in Africa? Of course. It's a continent. But when you overly portray something and push certain narratives, then it's not fair, and it's also not a fair depiction of the overarching theme of the situation. So, my whole thing is just see it for yourself. Don't just take somebody's opinion or take somebody's viewpoint on something. You can't really have an educated conversation until you actually are educated.
If Saudi Aramco becomes the #1 company by market cap, should we start to worry? I've been watching. If Saudi Aramco becomes the #1 globally traded company by market cap, should we as a country worry?
I don't think so. At one point, weren't they the #1 traded by market cap?
For a quick little second, and then valuations got adjusted, and Apple went back up, and Microsoft went back up.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily worry. I think that oil is a commodity that they're already diversifying their economy, so you can't fight against such situations like that. I think America still has the strongest companies. Like, if you look at Fortune 500 companies, probably 90% of them are American based. So even if the top 1 company or 2 companies, I don't think that necessarily changes this. But the last thing I want to say about this UAE situation is, obviously, I know a lot of people have said, like, well, it was built on slave labor and migrants and stuff like that. The word slave, I don't think should just be thrown around lightly, especially our history in America, which America was really built on slave labor. And people have no problem coming to America or spending money with America, ironically. But also, different parts of the world is different. There's different laws, there's different living expenses. Everybody doesn't have the same thing. But I will say this, even now to this day, you have thousands of undocumented workers that are getting taken advantage of in farms all across America and low-paying jobs all across America right now to this day, from Central America, from Mexico. So if somebody highlights that, well, it's like, okay, well, America is supposed to be the authority on human rights. America is supposed to be, the most advanced country in the history of the world. Well, let's take away undocumented workers. You have actual slave labor that's happening currently right now in America, and it's happening through the prison system. And this is when we talk about documentaries like the 13th, where slavery never really went away. It just got transferred. And you can't turn down a job in jail. Like, you can't turn down a job in jail.
Yeah.
And they have millions of Black people, mostly Black men, working for slave labor in prison currently right now. Makes up 5% of the world's population, and we have 20 to 25% of the prison population. That's not done by accident. That's done by design.
Yeah.
Multi-billion-dollar industry. So I would just be careful about just throwing out labels at things, because unless you're prepared to really stand on that, if you're saying, I'm not going to support any country that has ever taken advantage of somebody, well, you shouldn't be living in America. You shouldn't be paying taxes to America, and you shouldn't, be advocating for America in any way. Like, well, I'm not advocating for America. Well, you kind of are, because if you're living in America, then you're paying taxes. If not, you're going to jail. So you're paying taxes, and you're supporting a system that you don't use. You're so advocating against in other places. So I would just be careful. I think Americans live in an unrealistic bubble sometimes, without fully understanding how the world works, and without looking at their own political system themselves. So there's no part in the world where it's 100% equal for every single person. That doesn't exist. Literally doesn't exist in Africa. It doesn't exist in Mexico. It doesn't exist in Canada, and it definitely doesn't exist in America. America was built, like I said, it was actually built on slave labor. It still has slave labor that's currently happening. It still has millions of people that are sleeping on the streets currently, right now. They had to clean up San Francisco because the president of China came.
Talk about it. Hello.
So it's more beneficial to look inward as opposed to criticism going outward, especially criticism going outward on things that you haven't even experienced.
The real exposure program. With
that was a
exposure,
hell of a segue.
Yeah, with exposure comes education, right? And like you said, a lot of us live in a bubble, and our mindset is inside that bubble as well. And until you again get educated, or even sometimes when you're trying to get educated, people will resist it because it doesn't feel comfortable. So you made probably 1,000 great points inside of there. Well done.
Yeah,
for sure. All right,
amazing.
So
right? We got to get your solo can back too when you get back to the States.
For sure.
Yeah.
Upon our return.
Yeah,
sure.
Wait.
So let's talk about trading. Did back testing allow you to gain more confidence in your trading?
That's a great question. Someone asked me on Twitter. Yes, it gave me back testing gives you, it's like watching film. It gives you the ability to know what can work in a real market. The thing that does give you ultimate confidence is forward testing. There's nothing like actually putting a trade on, hearing order pending, order filled, and now you're seeing the position go against you or in your favor on a future side. Like when you hear target filled, that's when you know. So back testing is like watching film, and I think most people don't go back far enough to get a true sample size. I think you need to look back at maybe 6 years worth of data to see if your targets work. So if you're trading futures, you need to see if your 4-tick target works, 20-tick target for every instrument that you trade. On the option side, I think you need to see if you're going for percentage-based targets. Do they work in every cycle? A compressed cycle, a lot of volume, a lot of volatility, squeezes limits up and limits down. You have to see that. But the only thing that's going to give you real confidence in your trading is forward testing. Like you can't be on simulation mode all of your life and expect to have some big wins. It hits different when you actually like put your money in. And even for a lot of you who trade with prop firm money, it's different than when you put all your capital on the line. Because in real life, You can't hit a reset button if you lose 100 grand on a bad option call, or like the guy on Netflix who lost 11 million. Fortunately, he made it up with Dogecoin. Shout out to the dog. Listen, but you trade a lot better if you're using your own capital, because you're going to be a lot more mindful of the trades that you take. So closing out this year, going into 2024, if you've not taken a live trade yet, set aside $2,000 to do so you can feel all of the emotions, write your game plan out. But the only way you're truly going to get confident is by shooting your shot at the market and forward testing your strategy and not deviating from. I mean, I keep saying it, but stop deviating from your plan.
Yeah, inside that options trading, I would tell people this is like one of those things that I hadn't seen people doing, but you should check the bid history before you buy a contract.
That's a great. Say it again. Yes.
Yeah, because I think people get the stock price and the bid price and they think they're the same thing, and it completely not, right? So you can see how a stock moves over its history, right? We can see the 1 month, we can see 6 months, year to date, 1 year, 2 years out. And that's great to know, but you should also know how that bid has moved with the stock price, right? And so if the stock moves up, how far has the bid moved? Has it grown to a percentage that makes sense to you, right? Like we always talk about that. Like, what's the percentage that I need to see it decline before I realize that, all right, it's hit a level that I'm willing to now invest. And so finding out what the bid history is as important, if not more important, if you're trading options, right? You need to see where it was 6 weeks ago. You need to see where it was a year ago. Sometimes if you're doing a leap, how far back 2 years ago. You want to see where that is trending, so you know, all right, this is a spot. It pulled back 20%, it pulled back 30%. I like to do 50%, right? If it pulls back 50%, it's a great company. Yep. I'm looking at it like, okay, there's some room for growth, and we kind of showed that on the screen a few times. But I think people are getting confused. They're like, well, the stock price moved up with the bid. If you're in options, you're trading options, you need to look at the bid, right? You need to know what that ask is. Like you said, it's good to watch it, but when you see order filled, it's a different.
That's when the game really starts,
right? And that becomes, I was gonna say, that becomes one of those things like, all right, am I going to fill this at a limit price or a market price? These things are all these little intricacies that you need to know before you get into the space. Because again, he had 10 million go down to 6, but he still had other investments, right? Most of us don't have $1,000 that can go down to 400, so we got to be a little bit more refined with our skill set when we're making these decisions. Every tool you can add to the tool belt is important.
The great lesson that I think I forgot to mention, I don't like how he dispersed the capital, but I've been saying forever, every business on earth needs to learn how to trade, so no one can dictate your future endeavors. Like, there's a lot of talk, and I was talking yesterday about, like, where does the podcasting space go after 2024 and 2025? A lot of y'all live in zombies right now, but I think for those of you that are moving forward, if you don't know how to trade and invest inside of that business, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I think if he would have maybe had a Apple or Microsoft call, then did the Doge and Bitcoin, he probably could have tripled that money. And what a hell of a story that would have been. But, you know, I'm glad he messed up, because it makes opportunity for us. We need to get on the line with Netflix ASAP.
Four Rolls Royces too many.
So what's on your list of best stocks 2024?
I was looking. I know we talked about it before. Troy's mentioned this one a lot. TSM, I like. I like AMAT. I love AMD. AMD for the next 3 or 4 years has no chance to catching up to NVIDIA, but I've loved AMD for a long time. Even some people on the show last week were saying, like, oh, do you not love AMD anymore? I love them both. It's like having a Rolls Royce and Bentley. Like, you swap them out, still a good car to drive, you're good. But I think AMD, AMAT, and Taiwan Semiconductor, once the geopolitical threat goes away, I'm all in. For those of you who've been buying anyway, I commend you, can continue to buy. But I think this notion of, like, only the Magnificent Seven that's producing gains has been a little bit overstated. And I think we're seeing some of these start to make a nice run, and will run well into 2024, 2025. Like, you have to invest for the long term. Another ticker, SNPS, I will put on the watch list as well. I don't love it at the price that it's at now, but Cadence Design, I do like. I have that on the watch list as well. So there's a lot of other companies that are doing incredibly well. I know we lean a lot on the Big Seven, and I lean a lot on 2Tech2 Index, but there are some other companies that are setting up to have a nice run in 2024, 25, and 26. And if you guys are investing for the long term, you shouldn't worry about any 3-month or 1-month moves at all.
Yeah, and we still love Nvidia. We still love Nvidia. I know people were watching
baby.
the earnings. They were watching earnings last week, and we spoke about it. And it beat pretty much on every line. But the one thing that was concerning is that future guidance when they're when we talked about the geopolitical game between America and China when it comes to the semiconductor space. What impact will it have? They said it would have a significant impact in the fourth quarter. But what they did say, in addition to that, which kind of had to stop moving back and forth after the earnings, was the fact that they're going to try to make it up in different regions. And so I'd be interested to see which regions, like that would be the thing to research now. What region is NVIDIA moving into? And once you see NVIDIA there, I'm sure AMD is already there or going there as well. And so if they lose China, which is not lose China, but obviously the ban, it has hurt some of the sales for the H100. Where is the next space? Is it India? Right? Is it South? We got to figure out where that's going, so they can offset some of this loss with this ban. And I mean, who knows? Maybe in a year, 6 months, that ban's lifted, and this goes back to something that could, not that it's going down. I mean, it's had an incredible year, but 600 could be in the cards for NVIDIA if that ban gets lifted.
Absolutely, and especially like you said, if we pass things up with China, because China and America needs each other. We can play fight. It's like the relatives you may not get along with at Thanksgiving, but like y'all still blood relatives, so you got to get along. U.S. and China has to find a way to coexist, or it's going to be disaster for both. But if NVIDIA breaks ground in India, as India is kind of becoming the new China, we built up that middle class. Oh baby. So can we do a review video of our own videos? They think we should and go back to what we call might as well. We can be the antagonist of our own content, which brings me to what could we have done better in 2023 to have a better show and get people more gains. I know we called NVIDIA, but any ideas that we can take into 2024, which 4-year anniversary coming up is crazy. This show lasted longer than a lot of my relationships. Hey baby. These are just jokes written by DC Young Fly, Chico B. Shout out to anyone I've ever dated. You're amazing. I wasn't ready for you. Yada yada.
What company do you think has the best chance of changing the world? What company do you think has the best chance of changing the world over the next 20 years?
I am in love with Starlink. I really think
good one.
Starlink is going to be like this generation's version of AOL. And I think people forget like how big AOL was. They got the like middle of America connected to the internet. I think this global access at high speeds, and you can take fast internet capability with you anywhere. It's going to change the game. And this is a great infrastructure project as well. Like I felt like in a social media era, all the capital was going to people that built social media apps, and now that the business model is dying a little bit, or like the predominant players are there and they're not going to be moved, I think Elon did a great job in building something that's needed. No one's using landlines, but you kind of need that infrastructure of telecom there. He's built a sexy telecom so if we go to the desert and go to Burning Man, we can still stream and be connected to our loved ones, or go to Abu Dhabi or Lake Como, right? If we get a better driver of the boat, we probably can do the show from the boat. So I think this is one of the brands that is going to do incredibly well. I'm excited about the IPO. We talked about Stripe before. They missed their window. I don't think Elon, given some of the issues that he's had with Twitter, he's going to make up for that loss on Twitter for sure with Starlink. SpaceX, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to let him break through the firmament. But Starlink is going to be a star IPO, star brand, and I think it's going to be a company that actually does change the world.
I think Neuralink is something that is going to change the world for sure.
Talk about it.
Yeah, when you talk about, pretty much a computer inside your head. there's so much endless possibilities. I was just thinking, being out here, and what if you could put a chip in your brain and you could speak every language in the world, right? How convenient would that be? As opposed to trying to use a translator or trying to learn a language. Takes years to learn languages, like, because most people outside of America know at least 2 languages. Most Americans only know English. But imagine if you could just put the chip in your brain and go to Japan and just speak fluent Japanese and understand it as well. There's endless possibilities. Extremely dangerous, obviously, and scary. But once again, Elon Musk got his hands in everything. If you really think about it, it's kind of scary that when you look at the 2 companies that we just named, we didn't even talk. We didn't even talk about SpaceX. That's another one. So it's like he could potentially have 4 of the most powerful companies in the world.
Are you done? I wasn't sure.
No, I'm just saying if he has 4, I don't think that's ever been done before in human history. Where one person controlled, 4 companies, multi-billion-dollar valuations, and so powerful, from transportation to human brain networking to internet.
When you put it like that, and that's an index, like for one person to own, those could be the big 4 by 2050 or 2040.
Yeah. Did you see where he traveled today?
Where is he?
So we traveled today?
No, where is he?
He is in Israel. He said that he wants to help rebuild Gaza. I digress, but I know you want to comment on that.
So why is he in Israel if he wants to rebuild Gaza?
Well, he's meeting with Prime Minister.
He should just stay out of this. He should stay out of that situation.
That's where he's at today.
His best bet is just to shut up when it comes to geopolitical politics, because he's trying to do damage control, and he should just stay focused on what he needs to stay focused on.
You think it's a PR move?
I think it's 100% a PR move as far as him going to Israel. Obviously, everything that happened on Twitter last week, and everybody was calling him anti-Semitic. So I think he's trying to save face. But I just think he just does a lot of unnecessarily. He does things that are unnecessary and causes a lot of issues for himself unnecessarily. I get that he's a celebrity and he's playing to that, and he's the biggest, business personality in the world. I understand, it's valuable to his brand, but I think it's a thin line between being a celebrity and just, putting yourself in a situation where you have to, now you got to try to fix what you said and you try to get back sponsors and show face and do it. It's just like
going back to your Elon and Kanye point.
Yeah, for sure.
I will take those are great companies that you both named. I was thinking along those same lines, but I think initially I was thinking Microsoft, but I'm going to go with Google, just because the level of infrastructure, the ability to create product, the innovation, and we talked about it last week, where even we were speaking about ChatGPT as an idea. Well, where was it birthed? Right before OpenAI was a company, the idea was at Google. DeepMind was at Google, still is. And so we're talking about infrastructure, product, but the most important thing that they have that only Zuckerberg can really challenge is data. Nobody has more than them, right? They can challenge Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg, obviously, with Facebook. And so they have the key components, the digital gold of our generation. They have the key to it. They have the ability to put out product in this AI space, right? Because even when we talk about the competitors, who's in the AI space, we talk about Microsoft with OpenAI, but Google's been there from the beginning, and so they have the board. They have great leadership. I think we haven't seen the best of what's to come from Google, and that's saying a lot, with it being one of the best 7 companies by market cap in the country. I think we haven't seen that go-to product from them yet, right? Like the Pixel's a cool phone, but they don't have the product, and so maybe not putting a chip in your brain. What if there was a device that, and we saw that, right? That you put a device on you that translates for you right there. That's less invasive, right? Because some people will want to have the chip in their brain, but there'll be a bunch of people that say that's too invasive. But having a product, right? Like the Apple has the iPhone. What is Google's product? I think they have the ability to do that with their level of talent that's inside that company. So I would say Google.
It's a nice lineup. Neuralink, Starlink, Google.
Well,
It'll be
Alphabet.
hard to lose. Or Alphabet, yeah. Hard to lose. Hard to lose.
So before we leave,
no, go ahead.
Before we leave, I wanted to talk about Binance. Binance CEO got himself in some hot water, money laundering allegations, and feds came in, and now he's trying to leave the country. So, what's the deal with this, and what do we make on this whole situation?
Head dogs always holler. I've learned, like, when people espouse, like, let's say hypothetically, like, we do a free show every week. Y'all do a free show every Tuesday, and then they're like, well, y'all charge too much. They're the ones who actually charging too much. So when he started railing against Sam Bankman-Fried, I remember my mom calling me, and my mom was like, what if he's doing the same thing and trying to put all the heat on him? I told you guys 2 years ago, they're going to come in, clean up the crypto space. Banks are going to take over. Some of these people may be plants, but I think, of course, if you know that you're going to go to jail and you got to pay a $4 billion fine, I'm pretty sure he wants to go to Thailand so he can't face the sentence the Sam is facing. I think we're just seeing the maturation of the crypto space. The .com internet space went through something similar late 90s, early 2000s, where they had to clean up some of the players there. It's unfortunate because I think this has done some damage to the credibility of some of the companies. But if they find a great CEO with great leadership that can deliver on his promises, I think Binance will be okay. Coinbase will be okay. A lot of these projects will be okay. And this happens in every industry. You have nefarious characters in every sector that end up not being reliable. You get them out of the way, and if you find great leadership, they're going to go to the moon. No pun intended. So I think it's sad, but eventually, a lot of times I've learned when people are projecting, they're also revealing their own hand. Because most people that are, like, the people who are always calling out someone for a particular action are the ones who are usually doing the behavior. So it was very telling how hard he was railing against Sam about a year ago, and now he has to face the same fate. So keep your eyes on your own paper, focus on building your own business. And going back to the not competing thing, Rashad, that you were talking about, and Troy, that you were talking about earlier, I think we have to have, once again, CEOs who are focused on just making the companies great. That's the thing that I love about Satya. Until they had this issue with OpenAI, I didn't know Satya's thoughts on anything outside of Microsoft. He was just heads down focused. So especially in a more volatile space like crypto, high frequency trading, where the volatility is higher, you need a CEO that is head down and not focus on the gossip. So that's that.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like an episode of 24.
Well,
absolutely.
There you have it. A lot of
I appreciate y'all being here. I gotta say it again. I know it's late out there. Y'all the hardest working man in show business. Y'all giving Stephen A run for his money.
You gotta do it. It. 4 a.m. in Dubai. Gotta do
I'm
it.
sad.
Yo, you want to talk about 24-hour runs, man? Whew.
Man,
real 24-hour runs.
Yeah. Shout out to Canelo Alvarez.
He was my neighbor for a week.
Good dude. They thought it was Photoshop.
It was crazy. We walked out the door when we were going golfing. This dude, like, he had, like, it looked like remember the movie The Professional?
Yeah.
When he walked around or Desperado when he had the guitar joint. That's what his golf ensemble looked. I'm like, yo, you do this for real? He was like, no, this is serious. I'm serious. And he played well too. We watched him on the course. He's one hell of an athlete.
And we talk boxing too.
This is true.
So he gave us some insight on boxing.
Yeah, you took the pitch. This is the crazy part. Most times, like, we go out somewhere and Shotty doesn't recognize the person, right? So this time I see him talking to somebody, and I'm thinking to myself, who is this dude? Because he's in the garments. So I'm like, hey, how you doing, Troy? I'm walking. He starts talking. He starts talking. I look at Shotty. I'm like, yo, is that Canelo? He's like, I'm like, you knew that? He's like, yeah. I'm like, no way. He's like, Nah, I knew it.
I mean, of course you gotta know who the champ is.
I'm gonna give you a signal with Rashad, and Rashad don't dart over. When Rashad goes to the beeline to the convo, it's somebody important. You don't just get up and go. If you go, yo, boy, who is that?
Nah. Yeah, I'm gonna know the 12th man on the bench of the Charlotte Hornets.
I don't know a lot of people, but I know Canelo. Like that's somebody like you gotta know him. Like
Yeah,
so,
he's a master of his craft for real.
But I could see how
Floyd lost.
He lost 2 fights.
He lost. He was undefeated until Floyd.
He lost,
and then
Floyd,
he lost again.
He lost another fight recently, but he won. He avenged that. But yeah, I was actually. I mean, it's kind of a weird photo because it's Canelo in the full throw with the head wrap,
right?
With me, and I have a throw on, and we're at the mosque. It's a very random pairing.
That's
on Thanksgiving,
fire, though, yo.
On Thanksgiving Day. No, it's extremely fire, but I'm just saying I could see how some people could be like, no,
that was him.
This is impossible.
No. That's hate though. You know what it is?
Let's see. I put one. There's another one. Like I put one.
If you get higher, you go into the Andes. It's like, okay, I can see y'all with the locks. We talk about what you getting here.
But we talk about modesty. The most modest person, surrounded by family, refused to sit next to anybody but family, right? They offered him to sit in the front of the room. He's like, no, I want to sit where my family's at. This guy, I mean, just a hell of a person, extremely modest, great champion, and we rooting for him. Hopefully he got a fight. Somebody called him out this weekend. So hopefully he gets to, I think there's another Mexican fighter who's undefeated as well. So there's an opportunity maybe for a Cinco de Mayo matchup. But you know who we root for. Shout out to the champ.
Shout out to him, man. But all right, Hope, ladies and gentlemen,
it's been real.
It's been extremely real. This has been an eventful week. We will be back in America shortly.
Unfortunately, right?
Unfortunately.
Watch our stories, and just in case we don't make it back, we might stay.
Hold down the fort. Art Basel.
On the way.
Yes.
RSVP so you can get your tickets so you can actually be there. It's gonna be a vibe. And check out my girl B Simone today on Revolt and Wednesday on the YouTube channel. And Earn Your Leisure tomorrow. We have a very special guest, Shatilia Riley Irving, Kyrie Irving's agent. And extremely impressive woman in business too. She was a force in business before she became an agent, worked at BET, and did a variety of other things. So, yes, Sirski.
2 cool questions. How many podcasts make $4 to $5 million a year? And who has the most powerful podcast ecosystem? I want to talk in 2024.
I'm not sure how many podcasts make over $4 million a year. I would assume probably not too many.
Not too many.
As far as the
what's Shook Shot? It's late. That's what it is. I gotta catch you about like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, for sure. As far as
not many is what we're going with.
Yeah. As far as the ecosystem, I mean, it depends on how you look at it, but I like what what we have currently going on as far as Earn Your Leisure Market Mondays, high level conversations. I think that's the big 3. So for sure. So shout out to all of the content creators, all the podcast hosts out there that's doing their thing. Shout out to Shannon Sharp.
Club Shay Shay. The nightcap is hard too. The nightcap is hard.
Tough.
Yeah, nightcap is dope. I like Chad and that's a dope situation.
So it's like everybody out there is doing their thing, in different capacities. But
she's so good, man. You never
shout out to everybody contributing value.
Get your ticket to Invest Fest 2024 when they go on sale, man. We might have some surprises. You never know.
Oh, Market Monday's Ghana.
Market Monday's Ghana.
Yes, going to the motherland.
December 27th. We will be talking to a billionaire, amongst other surprises. So you don't want to miss this one, man. This is a unique opportunity to actually, be on the continent with us. End of December, going into the new year. It's gonna be a vibe. We got Afro Future, got a lot going on. But like I said, we tapping in with some of the wealthiest people on the continent of Africa. A lot of insight, And we're gonna be announcing other guests that will probably be joining us on stage soon too. So definitely get your tickets to Ghana. If you are already going to be in Ghana, a lot of people are already going to be there. Then this is definitely something that you should put on your itinerary to do. It'll be a great experience for you, for sure. So click the link in the bio and get your tickets now before it's too late. Ghana, Accra, this December 27th. We'll see you there. Shout out to Ally who sponsored the Market Mondays World Tour. That's the last leg of the Market Mondays World Tour. So we gotta figure out what we're gonna do next year. But yeah, this year we're gonna end strong with the bang. In Ghana. So, this is what we're going with. This is the vibe that we're moving into the new year with. So get your tickets, be there.
And yes, presentation will be in Ghana.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's do it then. Might have to
I'll
throw
put our 3 up against any 3. Shawty, I know you ain't in the mood today, so we'll wait till next week. I want to put y'all on notice though. I don't see too many networks standing up tall. Look like boy with that queso and that Chipotle bag.
Oh man. Listen, man, be good to each other. We'll catch y'all next week. Love is love.
Might be the people around us who be changing, but we'll talk next week.
Love.